It started the way most wild theories do, in a dimly lit corner of the internet, where curiosity and imagination breed conspiracies like wildfire. Someone posted a blurry photo of Elon Musk at a SpaceX facility, standing beside a prototype rocket, his face half hidden in shadows, his expression eerily unreadable. The caption was simple: "Is this man even human?" At first, it was just a joke. A tongue-in-cheek comment beneath the image asked if Musk had even aged since PayPal. Others piled on, memes of his vacant, almost too wide stare, his awkward pauses in interviews, the way his laugh sometimes seemed half-second offbeat, like a signal lag between Earth and somewhere else. But the theory didn't die. It evolved. What if Elon Musk wasn't just a genius entrepreneur with an obsession for Mars? What if he was something more, something not entirely Earth-born? Forums lit up with speculation. Reddit threads dissected his uncanny knack for predicting the future of technology, the way his ideas felt less like innovation and more like recovered memories. Was Tesla really just a car company, or a front for alien tech reverse engineering? Was Neuralink a communication bridge, not for humans but for them, the ones who sent him here in the first place? At first, people laughed. Then, the coincidences began to stack. There was the strange language he used in off-the-cuff moments, cryptic phrases about simulation theory and reality glitches that felt less like metaphor and more like someone trying to describe something they couldn't quite translate. There was the time he accidentally let it slip that time is just a stubbornly persistent illusion, a phrase no one expected from a guy designing flamethrowers for fun. And then, of course, there were the rockets, the relentless pursuit of a technology that didn't just aim to leave Earth but to escape it entirely, as if Earth itself were just a stopover. But the story didn't really blow up until the incident. It was a humid night in Boca Chica, the kind of evening where the air felt thick enough to slice. Elon stood alone on the launch pad after a successful test flight, his silhouette illuminated by floodlights and the soft, orange glow of a cooling Starship engine. A SpaceX intern, out for a smoke break, happened to see him standing there, just standing, his gaze fixed on the stars. The intern swore Musk's lips were moving, though no sound carried across the pad. He wasn't speaking into a phone or earpiece, and he wasn't muttering to himself. It was more like transmitting. Quiet, rhythmic, as if sending data back into the void. The intern stood frozen, too afraid to move until Musk's head snapped toward him, his expression void of the usual awkward charm. "Go home," Elon said softly. "You won't remember this tomorrow." The intern left without question, and told the story to exactly one person the next day, who then told 10. Within 48 hours, every conspiracy forum online was ablaze with speculation. They combed through old Musk interviews, every speech, every offhand remark for clues. And they found plenty. Elon never quite fit the mold of the eccentric genius. Sure, there were the familiar traits, the obsession, the long hours, the grandiose ambitions. But there was also a disconnect, a sense that he was watching humanity from just a few degrees outside the frame. He laughed at human absurdity like someone who understood it in theory, but not quite in practice. Even his obsession with memes, was it humor, or was it a form of surveillance, studying how humans laughed, what they feared, what they loved? The theory evolved again. He wasn't just an alien, they said. He was a messenger. A being sent to Earth not to conquer or destroy, but to accelerate. To nudge humanity just a little further forward, whether we were ready or not. Some believed he came from Mars itself, a survivor of a long-dead civilization that had once stood where only dust storms raged now. He wasn't trying to colonize Mars, they argued. He was trying to go home. Others swore he was a time traveler from Earth's own distant future, sent back to correct a crucial timeline error, the last chance to steer humanity away from extinction. And the strangest part? Elon never denied it. Every time the rumor reached him, at press conferences, in podcast interviews, or on his beloved Twitter, he just smiled that crooked smile, the one that didn't quite reach his eyes, and said something maddeningly cryptic. "Who's to say I'm not?" he tweeted once, after a fan asked if he was really an alien. The tweet was liked over 1 million times. But those who looked closer noticed something chilling. In the reflection of his sunglasses and the accompanying photo, if you zoomed in just right, there was something there. A shape, not human, not fully formed, just a glimmer. Like a whisper from the other side of the glass. Those who saw it couldn't unsee it. The forums exploded. Mainstream media dismissed it as a joke. But in private corners of the internet, the believers had no doubt. Elon Musk wasn't here to join humanity. He was here to prepare it. To make sure we were ready for whatever, or whoever, was coming next. The theory might have stayed confined to the basement corners of conspiracy forums, if not for the blueprint drop. It was late 2025 when Musk, casually and without warning, tweeted a 400-page PDF titled, Project Arc on the Acceleration Plan. No context. No captions. Just a link. At first, it looked like standard SpaceX internal documents, rocket diagrams, fuel ratios, next-gen propulsion schematics. But deeper in the file, things got weird. Strange symbols appeared in the margins, etched like ancient carvings. Some resembled constellations, others looked like hybrid alphabets, part binary, part glyph, part something else. Reddit exploded within hours. Self-proclaimed codebreakers, UFO buffs, even linguists from actual universities dove in, trying to make sense of it. Someone cross-referenced the symbols with star maps, and found a match. The coordinates pointed to a distant region of space, too empty to bother naming. Elon, naturally, refused to clarify. Just an inside joke, he replied when a journalist asked during a Tesla earnings call. Or maybe a map home. He smiled. Nobody laughed. That's when the speed theory took root. Musk wasn't just driving innovation, he was racing a clock. Every project, from reusable rockets to Neuralink's brain implants, wasn't about profit or curiosity. It was preparation. A crash course in survival for a species that didn't know it was on the edge of an unseen countdown. Something was coming. Maybe a fleet. Maybe a message. Maybe a test. And Musk, the alien messenger in an expensive hoodie, was humanity's only shot at being ready when the sky split open. The speed theory caught fire, but what really kicked it into overdrive was the Hawthorne incident. It happened during a routine engine test at SpaceX headquarters. A team of engineers was gathered outside, watching the static fire from a safe distance. Someone brought out a drone to capture aerial footage for social media. Nothing fancy, just the usual PR shots of flames and billowing smoke. But when the footage was reviewed later that night, they found something. Hovering above the test stand, high enough to avoid detection by the naked eye but clear as day on the drone's infrared camera, was a craft. Not a plane. Not a helicopter. And not anything any of the engineers could identify. It was a black triangular shape, smooth, silent, almost organic in how it shifted in and out of the clouds. It didn't belong there. But the strangest part? It wasn't observing the rocket. It was focused on Elon. In the video, Musk stood alone near the edge of the observation platform, hands in his pockets, face turned skyward. Not watching the rocket, not talking to his team, just staring directly at the triangle like he'd been expecting it. The video was never supposed to leave SpaceX servers. But someone, maybe a disgruntled employee, maybe a true believer, leaked it. By morning, it was everywhere. Musk didn't panic. He didn't deny it. When asked, all he said was, "They're just making sure I'm on schedule." He said it with a smile. But even through the screen, you could see it, that flicker in his eyes. Like a man holding a secret too big to carry alone. The forums went feral after the Hawthorne incident. Some claimed the triangular craft was proof Musk wasn't alone, that he was working with off-world partners, passing human tech to them in exchange for alien knowledge. Others swore it was a surveillance drone, not from Earth's governments, but from whoever sent Elon here in the first place, making sure their golden boy stayed on mission. But the biggest shock came from an ex-SpaceX contractor who posted under the alias Valkyrie Spill. According to them, every major SpaceX project, every rocket, satellite, and even Tesla's AI systems, fed into a larger system Musk called the Countdown Network. It was a global surveillance grid, disguised as mundane technology, but all linked together to monitor something no one else could see. Cosmic anomalies, gravitational shifts, incoming signals. Musk's timeline wasn't based on human ambition, it was based on a clock only he could read. Valkyrie Spill's final post was chillingly simple. The countdown started years ago. We're halfway through. He's not preparing us for Mars. He's preparing us for visitors. The account disappeared 24 hours later. And Elon? He just tweeted a single word that night. Soon. The tweet. Soon. Sent a shockwave through every corner of the internet. Tech blogs, UFO forums, conspiracy TikTok, even mainstream outlets couldn't resist. Was Musk teasing a product launch? Another Mars announcement? Or was it something far bigger, something the believers had been warning about for years? But behind the memes and speculation, in a sealed control room deep beneath SpaceX headquarters, the real countdown hit zero. It wasn't a siren or blinking lights. No drama. Just a quiet chime and a single line of text on the room's main screen. Visitor protocol engaged. The handful of engineers who had Level 1 clearance barely knew what it meant. They'd seen the term before, buried deep in the code for the Starlink network, but they always assumed it was some placeholder script, a failsafe that would never actually activate. Until it did. Somewhere above Earth, beyond the veil of the usual satellites and space junk, an object had emerged. No radio signal. No heat signature. No propulsion that anyone could detect. It just appeared like it had stepped through a door nobody knew was there. It wasn't a ship in the traditional sense. It was a frame miles wide, a colossal lattice of gleaming black material, each segment shifting and folding like a puzzle solving itself. It held position above Earth's equator, locked in perfect orbit, rotating so slowly it was almost imperceptible. Astronomers never saw it. Military satellites? Blind to it. Only the Countdown Network, the system Musk had been building piece by piece with every Falcon launch, every Starlink satellite, every ground station, detected it. The system Musk's partners had given him the blueprint for decades earlier. Elon was alone when the alert came in. Sitting in his glass-walled office overlooking the Boca Chica site, sipping lukewarm coffee, eyes flickering between monitors as if he could sense it coming. When the notification popped up, visitor protocol engaged, he didn't even flinch. He just exhaled, set his mug down, and whispered, "Right on time." The official story, the one the public would get, was already written. A meteorological anomaly. Solar flare interference with satellites. Some routine maintenance on Starlink disrupting internet service for a few hours. But in the Black Channel, the encrypted communications line that only existed between Musk and a very select few, NASA's top administrator, the head of the ESA, a handful of others, the real message was simple. They're here. Musk didn't call a press conference. He didn't tweet. He didn't panic. Because if the rumors were true, this wasn't a surprise. It was the whole point. For years, Musk's bizarre drive to accelerate humanity's technology hadn't been about competition or money, or even ambition. It was preparation. Earth had been a backwater planet, unnoticed, irrelevant, safe in its cosmic obscurity, until humanity started lighting up the radio waves and launching probes to the edges of the solar system. We made ourselves visible. And when you make yourself visible in a crowded neighborhood, someone's going to come knock. Musk had always known. Or, more accurately, he'd been told. Not directly. Not in English. The story, as the deepest conspiracy theorists pieced together, started long before Tesla. Long before PayPal. Back when Elon was a boy in Pretoria, South Africa, lying awake under clear skies, staring at stars that always felt too close. It wasn't dreams. It was data. Streams of incomprehensible symbols and pulses, binary laced with something else, something no human mind should have been able to process. But Musk? He didn't just process it. He understood it. The data told him stories, not of invaders, not of war, but of opportunities. Civilizations that either evolved fast enough to join the cosmic network, or didn't. And the ones that didn't? They weren't destroyed. They were simply passed by. Ignored. Left to burn themselves out in their own self-made chaos. The visitors were custodians, not conquerors. They didn't want Earth's resources. They wanted to see if Earth was worth adding to the list, the network of worlds that had cracked the code of survival. And Musk, whether through accident or design, alien interference, or some quirk of genetic lottery, had been chosen to speed Earth's audition along. That's why every project, from electric cars to brain implants to space travel, all pointed to the same goal: prove we can evolve fast enough to matter. The visitors' arrival wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of the test. In the weeks after the object appeared, strange things happened. Starlink satellites, which had once been seen as a vanity project, reconfigured themselves, creating a mesh grid that covered every continent. People started noticing their devices were faster, not just internet speeds, but processing speeds, almost like something had given the entire global network a quiet upgrade. SpaceX launches, already frequent, ramped up to a nearly impossible pace. Every new rocket carried payloads the manifests never listed, modules that fit together in orbit like pieces of a puzzle only Musk could see. Even Tesla vehicles began receiving firmware updates that had nothing to do with driving. Hidden in the code were snippets of language, not human language. Instructions. Behavioral guidelines. A whispered roadmap for how humans should behave when the visitors finally made contact. Because Musk knew the truth, the visitors weren't going to introduce themselves with handshakes and speeches. They would observe. Invisibly. Quietly. They would watch how we treated each other. How we solved problems. How we handled fear. Musk wasn't trying to save Earth with rockets. He was trying to teach Earth how to act like a species worth saving. The night before the official announcement, the one where world governments would confirm, after exhausting all plausible deniability, that something was hovering above Earth, Musk stood alone at the Boca Chica launch site. Above him, the triangular craft hovered again, silent and patient. This time, Musk didn't just stare. He raised his hand palm up, like he was offering something invisible. The craft responded, a flicker of light, a hum so low it was felt more than heard, like the earth itself exhaling. He didn't need words. They knew. He'd done his part. The rest? That was up to us. The countdown was over. The test had begun.